Hello, today I'll be taking you through the limitations of hedging. But before we go on to the limitations, let us first understand what is hedging. The best way to understand hedging is to think of it as an insurance. When people decide to hedge, they are insuring themselves against a negative event. This doesn't prevent a negative event from happening, but if it does happen and you are properly hedged, the impact of the event is reduced. So hedging occurs almost everywhere and we see it every day. For example, if you buy house insurance, you are hedging yourself against fires, break-ins, or other unforeseen disasters. Essentially, a hedge is an instrument to reduce the risk of adverse price movements in an asset. Hedging eliminates non-core risk. When uncertainty with prices are merged with derivatives linked to price changes, the resultant is certainty in prices. Now, the next question which comes to our mind is why hedge? Companies hedge for multiple reasons, like fluctuations in foreign exchange rate, as it can affect the revenue from exports and the cost of imports. Another reason why companies need to hedge is changes in commodity prices, as these are specially related to manufacturing companies. Their cost of production is highly dependent on commodity prices. Companies may also need to hedge for fluctuations in interest rates, as it is a cost for most businesses. Also, one may need to hedge against the volatility in share prices, as shares are assets for many individuals and institutions like mutual funds. Now, coming on to the limitations of hedging. Limitation of uncertain amount. Some international transactions involve an uncertain amount of goods to be ordered and therefore involve an uncertain transaction payment in foreign currency. Consequently, a firm may create a hedge for a larger number of units than it will actually need, which causes the opposite form of exposure as the amount may be larger than the actual transaction amount. MNCs are prone to this type of risk as the amount in foreign currency is known at the end of the period.
Repeated short term hedging. When there is a continuation of hedging in the short term for repeated transactions that are expected to occur in the near future, it has limited effectiveness in the long run. For example, the forward rate often moves in tandem with the spot rate. So, an importer who uses 1 month forward rate on a regular basis will have to pay increasingly higher prices during a strong foreign currency cycle. Lack of appropriate instruments. Many times, hedgers find it difficult to figure out a best suited hedging instrument as per their requirement. Also, instruments available in the market lacks flexibility. Tailor-made instruments are not yet available in the market to meet the suitability requirements of hedgers under different circumstances. Example, in case of commodities, if the derivative of a particular commodity is not available, it gets difficult to get a proper hedge. Lack of liquidity and depth. Firms cannot completely hedge all of their transactions. So, by hedging a portion of those transactions that affect them, they can only reduce the sensitivity of their cash flows to exchange rate movements. Setup cost. Setup cost includes maintaining a completely separate department dedicated to form and review these strategies, building the requisite infrastructure, and also getting experts to figure out a right strategy as personnel involved in the core operations of the business may not be competent enough to handle these activities. Reducing risk and reduce profits. Hedging reduces risk by reducing the volatility of possible future returns. This narrowing of the probability distribution of returns not only reduces possible losses but also reduces possible gains. After all, the negatively correlated portion is charged from the overall profits of a company or an individual. We can also understand it like cost of hedging can minimize profits. Conceptually difficult. Hedging as a concept is a complex mechanism to understand and implement as it considers various factors affecting an economy and a vital chunk amounts to number crunching. Short term traders generally neither do possess the required knowledge nor the means to hire experts in the field. Bullish markets limited benefits. Hedging does not allow buyers or sellers to take advantage of favorable market conditions. Even with all the indicators forecasting a growth, a hedger needs to take an opposite position against a strong conviction in the market. So, these were the limitations of hedging. Hope you have benefited from these. Thank you.